Of the script, debrief, short and sweet. So I'll be short and sweet. I want to thank the Rojo folks back here for coming and talking to the students. The best form of flattery is to follow somebody else's business model, and I think they do about our featured guest and follow that business model, and it seems to be something that's going to be very successful for both of them. I want to thank everyone who's been involved as well, but I understand there are 150 students and 25 advisors. So I personally want to invite the 150 students to become New Mexico State Aggies when you're ready. We'd like to have you down Aggies. And then the advisors, we can always get you a graduate degree if you want one down the road. We'll be able to take care of that. But we're very proud of New Mexico State University and hope that some of you will come here and go to school. We think it's very important that you continue your education by going on to college. We hope you select New Mexico State University. And one of the reasons why we hope you select it is we're going to feature entrepreneurship going forward. We think it's incredibly important in the state of New Mexico that we develop more businesses. New Mexico is principally small business, started by folks who might start off with 1 and 2 and 3 employees, and a small business in our state may have 50 or 100 employees. Our entire economy, in the main, is based upon small companies that have been started here by folks just like yourself when they grew up. So we invite you to come down here and join us in doing that. It's very important. I want to thank Arrowhead. Now, TOMS Shoes is based on a revolutionary business model. With every pair purchased, TOMS will give a pair of new shoes to a child in need, 1 for 1. We have to do that. That's an obligation we have. And I asked, where do you buy them? You buy them online. So we've got that one figured out. Since Blake started the farm, New Mexico, welcome to Blake. Thank you.
You know, interesting, 4 years ago, I was doing something completely different. I was actually running another entrepreneurial venture. It was an online driver's education company. So, I know it's a little bit of an oxymoron, but we actually convinced the state of California that we could teach teenagers to drive on the internet better than in the classroom. And we actually proved it because we got the test results, and we found is that young people these days were paying more attention to passing every single part of the curriculum online, where in the classroom they could be goofing off or not paying attention. So, but what happened was when we got this approved by the state of California, it became this race. It was a competition, very much like what you guys have been doing now. It was a competition to see who could launch their software program first. And because it was a competition and it was a race, what I found was me and my partners, we were working extremely hard, nonstop, all day, every day, for about a year. And when I say all day, every day for about a year, I mean literally all day, every day. I mean, we were working Saturdays, Sundays, I mean, sometimes even sleeping at the office. And so after a year, I was completely exhausted. We finally launched our software program. And so I asked my partners if I could take some time off to kind of refresh and recharge my batteries. And they said yes. And so I decided to take 1 month off and go to Argentina. Now, the reason I went to Argentina, there's a little bit of a backstory there. About 4 years before that, my sister and I had been on this TV show called The Amazing Race. How many people have seen The Amazing Race? Raise your hand. Oh, lots of people. Okay, how many people saw it when I was on it 8 years ago? Anyone? Oh, a couple people. Okay. So if you didn't see it, then basically, and you have never seen it at all, The Amazing Race is a scavenger hunt around the world. And you have a teammate, and you race around the world, and the winners get $1 million. Now, my teammate was my sister Paige, and we're very close, and she's just a couple years younger than I am. And 8 years ago when we did this, we raced around the world for 31 days, only to lose $1 million by 4 minutes. Can you imagine? Racing around for 31 days, and the worst part about this is it was my fault. And for all the guys in the room, I epitomize the cliche that guys don't want to stop and ask for directions. And my sister was begging me to stop and ask to get a map, and I said, "Oh, don't worry, Paige, I know where I'm going." Unfortunately, I did, and I got lost, and we lost $1 million. And so, but it's actually a funny side story to that. About a month after the show was over, my sister sent me this text message. And in the text message, it was just a string of numbers. And so I thought, that's kind of weird. And I thought maybe the phone had accidentally dialed me in her pocket or something. And so I didn't think of anything of it. And then the next month, I get another text message from her, and it's another string of numbers. And so I finally call my sister and say, Paige, what's the deal with these numbers you're sending me? And she said, Blake, that's the interest you owe me on my $500,000. So, she'd never forgive me. But back to Argentina. So I decided to go back to Argentina because we'd been there on the amazing. And so if you didn't have shoes, you weren't allowed to go to school. And so this was really important for them to get these shoes to these kids so that they could be in school. So, you know, I'm a very curious person, and I decided that I want to see this more, you know, up front myself. And so I invited myself to go along with them to help deliver these shoes. And at this point in my life, I had never really done anything like this. I never really spent like a whole day volunteering and serving those who were in need. And so when I got to the village, my parents were so excited, the kids were so excited, and I started doing it, and I felt so excited. It was a really joyful experience. And I remember leaving that day thinking, God, that was one of the best days ever. You know, I just made all these kids so happy. I got to participate in this, and it was really, really great night. All these happy and exciting feelings I had got tainted a little bit when I started thinking about, you know, how this program would continue to exist. Because this program was completely dependent on donations. Instead of looking at it from a charitable perspective, I started looking at it from a business perspective. And I thought to myself, what if business could solve this instead of charity? So what if instead of starting a charity where I ask people for donations, I actually start a shoe company, a for-profit business that would sell shoes, and every time we sold a pair of shoes, we would give away a pair of shoes. So when you buy a pair of our $40 or $45 shoes, we would give a pair to one of these children. And as long as we continue getting people to buy our shoes, we could sustain the giving. So that was the idea. My buddy at the time loved the idea. He was Argentinian, and he helped me kind of figure out how to do it. So we ended up, our goal in the story, because that was a very small goal, 250 kids. I mean, that's about the number of people in this room. And our goal was to sell 250 pairs of shoes and then continue to support these kids throughout the year and to keep selling them and keep giving them as long as they kept it in shoes. So when I came back to the United States and I had 250 pairs of these kind of unique looking shoes that we made over the next month, we weren't even calling it a company, we were calling it a project. And, you know, and